Welcome back everyone. Today we're in Birmingham, at what will become one of Britain's newest and most ambitious railway stations, HS2's Curzon Street. If you haven't visited for a while, the transformation here is remarkable. What was once a vast construction site of excavators and earthworks is beginning to resemble a real railway station. One of the biggest milestones reached recently is something you'll never actually see once the station opens. Beneath our feet lie over 2,000 reinforced concrete piles, driven deep into the ground to support the enormous weight of the station. They're between 6 and 24 metres deep, and together form the foundations of a station that will eventually stretch more than 400 metres in length. Now that this stage is complete, construction is becoming more visible. Engineers are pouring huge concrete pile caps and ground beams, which tie all these foundations together, before the station's structural columns begin to rise. In other words, the station is finally starting to grow upwards rather than downwards. Just behind me are the approach viaducts, which will carry HS2 trains to Curzon Street. These aren't just ordinary railway bridges, they have to cross existing railway lines, roads, utilities, while maintaining the incredibly gentle gradients required for trains travelling up to 225 miles per hour. Every bridge section has been carefully engineered and assembled within millimetre precision. What's particularly interesting is that Curzon Street isn't simply being built as a railway station. It's acting as a catalyst for the regeneration of Birmingham's east side. New railways, public spaces, tram extensions, office developments, and thousands of new homes are all planned around this site. Supporters argue that HS2 isn't just about getting to London faster, it's about creating entirely new districts around modern transport hubs, much like King's Cross in London that has transformed over the past 2 decades. Of course, that brings us to the political debate, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. When the government cancelled the northern leg of HS2 to Manchester in 2023, many argued that Birmingham was left with a station designed for a railway that would never fully arrive. Critics say Curzon Street is now a terminus rather than a central hub it was originally intended to become, reducing many of the wider economic benefits that justify the project's enormous cost. Others take the opposite view. They argue that stopping halfway would have wasted decades of planning and billions already invested. In their eyes, completing Birmingham properly still provides additional capacity on Britain's congested rail network and gives the city a landmark station that will serve future generations, regardless whether the northern extension is eventually revived. It's one of those infrastructure projects that divides opinion, perhaps more than any other in modern Britain. Is HS2 an investment the country will thank itself for in 50 years' time, or has the changing original plan undermined the entire business case? Whatever your view, one thing is undeniable. Every time I come back here, there is visible progress. This is no longer a giant hole in the ground, it's become a railway station. If you enjoyed following the engineering behind HS2 and watching these projects evolve over time, don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be returning to Curzon Street regularly as more of the stations begin to emerge above the skyline. So here's my question for you. Should Britain eventually complete HS2 all of the way to Manchester, or should the line end here in Birmingham? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd genuinely be interested to see where everyone stands. Thanks for watching.